everybody? Welcome to another episode of the College Football Tailgate with me, XFL College Football Jim, joined by my man Eric at eTop21 Sports on Twitter, Uncle Rico, as many of you know him. How you doing, man?
You know what? Just getting back from New Orleans. I'm saying it right now. I was getting corrected by the locals. New Orleans. You gotta say it like it's worth.
Okay.
Feeling confident. Had a great time. Ready to dive into a little independent football, dude. We got my Minutemen. Made a big coaching change, my friend. That's going to turn around the program.
They're your Minutemen now, so like you're big on them. You're big on.
I could be the only one in America that says I'm big on UMass football.
Okay, well, we'll get into UMass. We'll get into UConn. We're saving the best for last. I think this is a good way to dip your toe back in because today we're covering the independents. So, what have we been doing and what are we going to continue to do? We are covering every single college football win total, conference by conference. We did all of the G5s from the MAC to the AAC. Go give those a watch. Go give those a listen. Now we're here.
We gave out some juicy futures last week, man.
That UCF line hasn't moved, by the way. I've been continually hammering the over 8.5.
We gave out, what was it, a 150 to 1 Heisman, 40 to 1, yes. A 40 to 1 conference. We're just hammering an 8.5 total, where a team doesn't leave Florida until basically the last third of the season.
They play like one game outside Florida.
It's absolutely absurd how their schedule just lines up. It's crazy.
It's insane. So the bridge that we're doing between the Power 5 and the G5 is we're doing the independents. So we have Army, Liberty, BYU, New Mexico State, Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass. We're going to be going through team by team, game by game, schedule by schedule. What team better to start it off with than the Army Black Knights?
So the thing with Army is,
by the way, win total set at 8.
All right. Army's returning 45, 8 starters on O, 6 on D. Taylor will be the starting quarterback. He only started 4 games last year. He started out the season great, but sat out the remaining of the season due to injury. Their biggest win of the offseason is their running back Buchanan hit the transfer portal, but he's coming back. So they have him plus their other top 3 running backs, solid running back room. Offensive line is good and experienced, but something we need to remember, and Jim and I have mentioned this a couple times, is the cut block rule has switched. How long is it going to take this unit to get used to that rule? For those that don't know, it's got to happen in the tackle box. Anything in front of the line of scrimmage outside the tackle box is going to be a penalty now. D-line returns for the top 6, but they did lose a player that was a second team all independent. They lost Smith in the linebacker room, which is going to hurt. Secondary is phenomenal. But, I mean, for me, it all comes down to how quick can they get accustomed to the chop block rule.
So I'm kind of... So they change there's that change in the cut and the chop block rule, but also the change that allows these offensive linemen to bulk up a little bit more and get bigger. Maybe they can actually start pushing their weight around a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they can get a little push, a little underneath the pads, pushing back a little bit.
And if you're an offensive lineman, the one thing you want is a run-first offense, and which is these are like a run-only offense, so they should be thriving still.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, and there's a lot of good first games this week 1, but this Army Coastal game week 1, it with the changeovers Coastal is making, and then Army not knowing how they're going to do with the offensive line. You got Taylor coming back to be QB1. How's he going to look after suffering a season-ending injury? A lot of real juicy things going on in this game.
There's a lot of excitement in this one. As Eric was alluding, let's break down the schedule. Coastal Carolina versus Army at Coastal. What are we thinking?
With how much Coastal is losing and Army being Army, I think I'm going to give this to Army.
I'm actually going to start with disagreeing with you
Ooh.
because, yes, I know Coastal's losing a lot, but I think Coastal is still a good team. I think Grayson McCall is a difference maker, and they run an option style offense, and they have the entire preseason to prepare for Army. This is the best time you can get a team like Army is week 1.
Let's play Jim. Guess that line.
Coastal minus 2.5.
3.5.
3.5. I like Army to cover, but I like Coastal to win. I like Coastal to edge them out.
Over under of 55.
See, you want to say under, but like Army will get in these fucking weird games because I don't trust Coastal's defense. You remember Army versus Wake last year?
Was it like 72-60?
That game was insane.
They were all over the place. Yeah, it's tough. I would honestly, when push comes to shove, I love so many games this first week, and this is one of them.
I'm just gonna flat out tell you, it's week 1, so I'm betting every game. Depending on where that line sits.
That's why I love you, dude. That's why I love you, because you bet every fucking game.
Only on week 1. I'll take my spots later, but I will bet every single game week 1. I lean Army to cover that 3.5.
At the 3.5.
But I might just bet that over because crazy shit can happen on the teal turf.
All right.
Game number 2, they get UTSA at home.
I'm gonna give them a win there.
I'm going to give them a win, too. I think UTSA is still going to be good, but I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were in 2021. Then they get Villanova at home. I think that's another win.
That is a win.
Going out of the bye week, they get Georgia State at home.
I'm going to give that an L. I love this Georgia State team. And look who's on deck.
We're both very high on Georgia State. It is Wake Forest at Wake Forest. Does Army get the revenge?
No, this Wake team's good, man. I'm gonna give them another L. I'm gonna give them an L, dude.
I'm gonna give them 2 L's in a row. Colgate at home after that.
You know what? I think that's a win.
ULM at home after that. I think that's a win as well.
I think that's a very convincing win. But I will say this. If Army is laying anything over 21, 24, that's a big number. With how they're going to play at the end of the game and in the second half. You know what I mean? Like these Air Forces that lay these big numbers, I always look to fade and just take the points.
Yeah, when they're laying these huge numbers, depending on the team, because Army has shown in like little spurts that they could just blow out a team here and there.
Yeah.
So I stay away from those. But also, like, can I be 100% honest with you? In the middle of the college football season, I love taking fucking giant spreads sometimes.
I love it too, dude.
I love taking, like you'll get an Ohio State versus like a Northwestern, and they're minus 32.
Love it. Freaking love it.
I'm gonna take that. I'll take that all the time.
Love it. Love it.
I'm not scared. I embrace it. I even do. I'll do like a weekly big spread parlay.
And which is going to turn into a money line parlay this year, isn't it?
Well, no, I do an underdog money line parlay as well.
A little round robin this year going to be added too?
Oh, it'll be for sure added. Can we just do an aside real quick? So CFL this last week, I got fucking boned.
Dude, you did get boned.
We'll talk about it more on Spring Fever. I just wanted to mention I did an underdog money line parlay round robin, and I got absolutely fucked.
But because the Elks won,
they were the only one that did.
You didn't do all 4?
I did all 4.
Yeah, and the
Elks were the only team that won.
No, if you did all 4, the Toronto won too.
No, Toronto wasn't the underdog in that game.
No, yeah, they were. They got.
Yes, they were. No, I bet the Rough Riders though.
The Uncle Rico.
No, yeah, remember we were against each other in that game. We were against each other. So I got
Uncle Rico and the underdog came out a little bit ahead.
It did. Yeah. I got fucked though, and I'm standing by that. On to the more college football. So off of the bye week after beating ULM, they get to play Air Force. That's an L. At Troy, I think is a win.
That's a win.
UConn at home, I think is a win.
Yeah.
At UMass, I think is a win.
You know what? I'm gonna say it's a gutsy win.
I think UMass might surprise them and like show. But Army's good against these bad teams.
Yeah.
And like I know you're high on UMass, but they are a bad team.
I'm not
For
saying
now.
I'm not saying they're good, but you know what? They're going to be improved. How about that?
They're gonna be feisty.
Yeah, that over 2.5 looks so sexy.
And then they finish versus Navy.
I got to give them a win, dude. Like,
I gotta give them a win there. So what do we have them at?
I have them at 8. I have them at 8, 9. I have them at 9.
I got them at 8. So their win total is set exactly at 8.
It's a pass.
Minus 125 on the over, minus 105 on the under. Yeah, I might lean under.
I would lean under too.
Because I honestly think like that Navy Army game at the end of the season is always weird.
Yeah.
Like Navy very well could come after them. Maybe. I do have them losing to Coastal. If they win against Coastal, like UTSA could always beat them. They could go 1-1 there. I lean under. That's not a strong lean, but I lean under.
Strong lean to the under?
No, not a strong lean. A slight lean.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that.
Up next, we have the BYU Cougars win total set at 8.5, minus 140 on the over, plus 110 on the under. 8.5 for BYU.
Returning 37, 8 on offense, but all 11 on defense. I'm assuming Hall is going to be the
I think so.
Start of the season. He did he did lose it, but it's safe to assume that if he loses his job, if he struggles, they have 2 capable backups. No clear-cut RB1 as Allegreer left to go to the NFL. They did bring in a transfer from Cal, Chris Brooks, who's going to slide in, I believe. They got the Nuclear brothers transferring in, one from Utah, one from Washington. They're going to take over, be wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. That's going to move Romney, who was a wide receiver 2 last year, down to the 3rd wide receiver. So it's a decent wide receiver room. Offensive line, they're losing their starting center. Everyone else is returning. They added a JUCO and an Oregon transfer. D-line's losing in a 1 backup. Linebacker room, is the strength of the defense. Insane linebacker room. And this is the best defensive back 4 that BYU's had an insanely long time. 3 of the 4 in the back 4 are going to be seniors. So that's good and experience. This defense is flipping legit. The one worry is, and it's a worry with everybody, if the injury bug comes, there's not much depth.
Can I say something real quick? I am so high on this BYU team.
Okay.
I am extremely high on this BYU team. If you can find odds for BYU to make a New Year's Six Bowl, I love it. I would even sprinkle BYU to make the playoffs.
See, I'm looking right now.
I'm so high on this team.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in FanDuel right now. I'm looking at FanDuel, and they have to win 10-plus games. Hoping I'd see one. They have Notre Dame at plus 200.
No BYU?
No BYU.
Maybe we'll have to wait till August to get that.
No BYU.
Maybe they'll have more teams for that in August. So their win total is set at 8.5, minus 140 on the over. You want to dive into this schedule?
Let's dive into it, big man.
At USF to open the season.
You know what? That is a convincing win.
Baylor at home. Next game up.
It's a win, dude.
That's a win. At Oregon. That's a win. I think that's a win. Oregon, no head coach. Who knows what's going on there with the Ducks?
Yeah, I mean that. I'll say that's a win for them.
Wyoming at home. I think that's a win.
Dude, just win. Wyoming's
Utah
awful.
State.
Getting Utah State on the short week. I think that's a win.
Notre Dame in Vegas.
See, this is where these two
Tough.
games right here, Notre Dame and Arkansas back to back.
They go 1-1.
I think they beat Notre Dame, but Arkansas has some big boys, and I don't
will
know
say,
if they
this is the game on the schedule that Chase is most worried about.
Yeah, really.
Yes, I've talked with him multiple times.
Who does Arkansas have the week before?
I'll look it up real quick. So Arkansas before BYU, they play at Mississippi State. So their schedule is kind of brutal. So they go versus Texas A&M in Arlington, Alabama at home, at Mississippi State, at BYU. That's tough. And then they have a bye week, and then it's at Auburn.
Yeah,
they could lose that game.
They could.
I think they go 1-1. I think they go 1-1 here. And then after Arkansas, they play at Liberty. I think that's a win.
Yep.
East Carolina at home. I'm going to say it's a win. At Boise State. Tough, but it's before the bye week. I think that defense is good enough to give them a win. I'm calling it a win. I'm saying a win.
You know what? And they get an extra day because that East Carolina game's a Friday night game.
Yep. Utah Tech after the bye week.
Dude, fun fact, I consider myself a pretty sharp person when it comes to football. I had never heard of Utah Tech until right now.
I'll be honest, I had never heard of Utah Tech either.
I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there. I apologize to everybody, but I have never heard of Utah Tech before.
FCS, don't really know much about them. Let's see how they did in 2021. They went 1-10.
I'm going to call that a win.
I'm gonna say that's probably.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to call that a win.
Probably a win. And then they play at Stanford to end the season. I'm going to say that's a win.
I'm going to call that a win, too.
I have this team losing one game.
All right. So this is my philosophy.
If I can find odds for BYU to go to undefeated, I will take odds on that. Give me money to bet that. I'm going to bet them over 8.5 minus 140.
So I'm looking right now. This is how my head works. I look at the schedule. I'm completely with you. I think that when you see a team that has the potential to go undefeated and possibly sniff their way into a college football playoff, you at least need to throw a quarter unit down on them to win it all because it's an easy hedge opportunity. And I'm looking at Bet Online right now. They're at 500 to 1.
I mean, I'll throw $1 or $2 on that.
Oh, dude, I was going to throw a little more, man, but that's just me.
Well, what are you throwing on that?
I would throw a I would, you know, I'm just coming back for Bourbon Street. I would throw 2.5 Hurricanes on that. $25.
$25 to win 12,500.
I mean, dude, whatever you're capable of, like, even if it's $10, dude, you know what I mean? Throw $5 on it. And you're going to be in a phenomenal position because you have to think about it. Hypothetically, on the 26th, if they're undefeated going into Stanford, they
have a great resume.
Yeah. You know, wins at Oregon.
If they're undefeated going into Stanford, they have wins against Baylor, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Arkansas.
And at Boise State.
And at Boise State.
I think at 500 to 1, you have to throw a little on it.
I'll throw a little bit.
At 500 to 1, you have to throw a little bit on it. And if you on a November 26th, if they are undefeated, probably going to be laying 3, somewhere like that at Stanford. Just put a little money, Stanford money line. You're in the green. Just go for it.
Never hedge.
You know what, dude? Fun fact, dude. I usually never hedge, but there's this one time I bet the Milwaukee Bucks at 100 to 1 to win the East and 200-1 to win the NBA championship. And they were up 2-0 against the Toronto Raptors and then proceeded to lose 4 games in a row. And I told myself after that, if I ever have anything over 100-1, I'm going to throw a little hedge on it.
I can respect that. I definitely. What do you think of the win total? I know you don't like betting them this big.
I would lean to the over. I mean, I think there's going to be insane value. I wonder if they. Let me pull up. FanDuel sometimes has some look-ahead lines. Let me see if FanDuel has some look-ahead lines.
Minus 140, I still like it. I like it quite a bit.
Minus 140, that's a great, I would lean that way. I'm personally not going to bet it. I would lean that way. I'm looking right now. BYU is laying 1.5 right now versus Baylor. To me, I'm totally hammering BYU in that spot.
I would love that.
BYU is getting 6.5 at Oregon.
Love it. I might just moneyline parlay BYU throughout the season.
And just keep rolling it over.
I might just keep rolling it over.
They're getting 6.5 versus Notre Dame.
I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to roll over BYU the entire season.
I mean, that makes sense, dude. Just keep on going with it.
The only game I'm worried about is that Arkansas game.
Arkansas's got some big boys, man.
I know Arkansas. I'm super high on Arkansas too.
Arkansas's got some big boys.
We'll talk about them when we talk about the SEC.
I would lean the over, but I mean, it's a fun future. You could be in a good line, a good spot, having 5. If you have 500-1 on a team that made the Final Four, you're in a great spot and in a great spot to make money. So I say put a little bit on the 500-1.
I'll put a little bag of chips on that. Up next, we have Liberty. The Flames win total set at 7.
So Liberty,
minus 140 on the over for that as well. Plus 110 on the under for Liberty.
Returning 45, 7 on O, 4 on D. They need to replace Malik Willis. It's an open comp between Charlie Brewer, who was at BYU, then he transferred to Utah. Now he's transferring to Liberty. They have a Tennessee transfer, Bennett, and last season's backup, Nate Hamilton. So it's a 3-way battle. No clear-cut winner right now. Day Hunter from Hawaii, who I kind of like, is transferring in. He's going to be RB1. Wide receiver room basically is losing everybody. A lot of that's going to depend on the transfers coming in, how they're able to adapt and everything. Offensive line, they have 3 group of 5 transfers coming in and returning 3. So it's kind of the strength of the offense, kind of a good deep group, returning 3, getting 3 power 5s in. D-line, strength of the defense, they return basically everybody, plus they're adding 2 transfers from Auburn. Linebacker room, they were losing their top 2 linebackers, which is going to insanely hurt. And they're losing 3 out of 4 of their starting DBs. So, I mean, this defense is going to be the key.
Bad.
And
it's going to be bad.
It's just kind of like you don't know what's going on at quarterback. And the fact that none of these 3 guys has been good enough in the spring to solidify themselves as the starter is worrisome. And then you have to figure if these guys are splitting reps as QB1, they're not getting that timing, getting everything with a wide receiver. So, yeah, I'm sensing a lot of struggles for Liberty, especially at the start of the season.
Luckily for them, their schedule isn't too harsh. I think 7's a good number off the bat. So they start at Southern Miss.
Coach Jim, Uncle Jimmy, let's play my favorite game.
Liberty minus 6.5.
Sworn I saw it earlier, and I can't find it now. I believe it was at 3.5.
What? You got to find that. We have to know.
I'm panting. I'm sifting through.
Either way, I think that's a win.
Yep.
Then they
Liberty
get UAB
laying
at home.
3.5.
What was that?
Laying 3.5. Yep.
I like Liberty there.
I'm gonna give them an L against UAB.
Do we think UAB kind of rallies around their coach like retiring?
I think they do.
Injury, and they win one for him.
Dude, but here's the thing, like, it's his system, his assistants. They've been there for a while.
I still think they're going to be really like I'm with you. I think UAB is good.
You have a team with a lot of experience. You have a team that is losing everybody on the defensive end, basically.
I think UAB wins this game.
Yeah, I think UAB wins this game. I think UAB definitely.
Then they get to play at Wake.
That's a loss.
I think that's a loss. This could be one of those weird Wake games, though, where that Wake like fumbles the ball, but I think Liberty loses this one. Akron at home.
Win.
I think that's a win. At ODU.
They're gonna go 1-1 here.
With at ODU and at UMass?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have them going 2-0.
Okay. All right.
Gardner-Webb at home.
That's a win.
BYU at home. That's a loss.
That's a loss.
Bye week, then at Arkansas. That's a big loss.
That's a loss.
At UConn.
That's a win.
That's a win. Virginia Tech and then New Mexico at home. I think they lose to Va Tech.
And I think they beat New Mexico State. I got them at 5.
I think so. I got them. I think I got them at 6.
And what is that over under juice to, my friend?
7. Plus 110 on the under.
You know what, dude? This may be the one I bet then.
I'm definitely betting that one.
You know what? I'm gonna lock that little. I'm gonna lock that.
I love under 7 here.
But that's the thing. Like, sometimes, like, you just got to sit back and just spell everything out to yourself. You have 3 guys that have been battling for the starting quarterback position. Not one person has been good enough to take the spot. You lose everything you lose everything in the back for the defense. Your best 2 tacklers. You know what I mean? And you lost a dynamic playmaker in Malik Willis, who, let's face it, I think he hid some of the offensive line's struggles last year with giving up some rush. So
also, it's about time for a Hugh Freeze scandal.
And speaking of that, he did slide into some girls' DMs. So we don't know what's going to go on with that, because there is like some serious allegations going on that has to do with like the administrative hiding some sexual attacks. So it wouldn't.
So go ahead.
No, like there could be some Hugh Freeze scandal. I'm locking it in under 7 wins. Go ahead.
I'm locking that in too. Also, I will say, credit to your Minutemen. If that and the UConn game was switched, I'd have them winning. Like if UMass was playing them where UConn is playing them, sandwiched between Arkansas and Va Tech, I would have UMass winning that game.
UMass is going to beat them on the 8th, dude. That's my birthday weekend, dude. That's going to be my birthday present for
I'm going to be rooting for UMass. I'll bet UMass that week, but I just don't see it off the top. Up next, we have the New Mexico State Aggies, one of my favorite mascots and logos in college football. Win total set at 3.
All right.
With minus 125 on the over, minus 105 on the under.
All right. So the big thing with them, they have a new coach, Jerry Krill. Used to be at Minnesota, used to be at Northern.
Big old Jerry Kill, he's there?
Yeah.
I gotta do that. He's a good coach.
Great coach, but I think it's going to take some time, man. It's going to take some time.
This school sucks. This team sucks.
They're returning 42, 4-0, 9 on defense. No clue who's going to be the starting quarterback. You know, the players that are battling for the starting quarterback position, guess how many career starts they have combined? There's 2 of them.
26.
1.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Yeah. Running back, they lost all their top guys. They have some high-end transfers coming in. Wide receivers, they lost their top 3. Offensive linemen lost their best 2 blockers. And they're learning a completely new offense and completely new blocking scheme. I mean, what the hell could possibly go wrong with that?
And they can't stop scheduling Power 5 teams.
I'll say this. The defensive line is legit. They do have a good defensive line. It is the one good area of the team. Linebacker room, they lost 3 of their top 6. But they did lose their top 2. They got a transfer from Michigan. DBs are returning 7 of their top 8, adding a JUCO transfer and one from Miami, but they're just not. The one thing we need to remember is there's returning players and there's returning bad players. And you know what I mean? Like,
I know sometimes attrition, you have addition by subtraction for some of these schools.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Keel's good, but it's gonna take time. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna take time for him to be able to turn this effort around. So
you ready to break down this schedule?
Dude, and it starts out with Nevada, who basically lost everybody. So I think they lose this game. This is going to be a game I'm going to look to bet the under, just because Nevada did lose basically everybody to Colorado State. They're implementing a new system. New Mexico State's going to be implementing a new system. So I'm going to give this game to Nevada, but I'm definitely going to bet the under.
I will bet the under, and I'll probably bet New Mexico State because this is a game of chaos, and wild shit can happen. So I think Nevada wins. I'm going to be betting New Mexico State. At Minnesota after that. That's a loss.
That's a loss.
At UTEP after that. Back-to-back, I think that's a loss as well.
You're not going to back them in the big I-10 rivalry game?
No, I will not. If this was maybe ahead, I actually think UTEP's on the upper swing.
Yeah. I'm going to, yeah.
And then at Wisconsin, back-to-back road games.
That's just brutal. I'm going to give them an L.
That's an L. And then Hawaii at home.
I'm going to say between Hawaii and
So, yeah, they have Hawaii and FIU at home back-to-back before the bye week. And I will say out of Nevada, Hawaii, and FIU, they win 1. Yeah. Out of those 3. I think they win 1 of those 3.
It's going to be interesting, though, because Hawaii and FIU do have new coaches coming in. There was a train wreck with their coaching system.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
I favor them in the Hawaii game more than any of the other games just because Hawaii was left as a dumpster fire. Yeah. And not only is it like, it's another chaos game. Everything's different at both schools. Hawaii is also, anytime Hawaii travels from the island, I usually look to fade them.
All right.
All right. I'm going to call this a win. I'm going to say they get a win here. I think they lose to FIU.
We got them at 1.
We got them at 1 going into the bye week. New Mexico, the Lobos at home after the bye week.
That's an L.
I think that's an L. San Jose State at home after that. I think that's an L.
The fat, dirty L.
And then at UMass, at your Minutemen, before the bye week. Can they do it? That's an L. After the bye week, they get Lamar.
It's a win.
That's a win. At Missouri.
L.
And then at Liberty.
It's another L.
2 wins. So their best shot, in my opinion, is Nevada, Hawaii, and FIU. But then they're just pushing. They just push at 3.
I have it at 2.5, right?
I have it at 3. I'm seeing 3.
Oh yeah, it's at 3.
Bet online, it's at 3.
Yeah, my fault.
I'm on this under.
I'd lean under too. I mean,
it's a rebuild season.
It's a heavy rebuild season. Krill can coach, but they just lack.
Like, do they win against Nevada, UTEP, Hawaii, FIU, New Mexico, UMass, Lamar? How many wins do they have out of those schools? Like 3 tops.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be decided in this Hawaii FIU stint. If they go 2-0 there, they're going to hit the over.
No, because what if they lose to Nevada? If they win both those games, then they're going to push.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't see, like, I could see them getting to 3. I don't see them getting to 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tough part. They would have to beat Nevada. So, like, to me, it all hinges on this Nevada game. If they beat Nevada, then it's open for Hawaii, FIU, and then Lamar. So you'll kind of, in my opinion, you'll know week 1 whether or not you're going to hit the over or the under. Because if they beat Nevada, then I think obviously they can beat Hawaii. And then FIU has to come to them.
Yeah.
And maybe they upset New Mexico or at UMass, but I still like the under. I don't see that as super likely. I'm betting the under. I'm just going to say that flat out. Minus 105? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bet that. Speaking of another thing, I bet Notre Dame 9.5. By the way, Notre Dame 9.5. Let's see what their gosh, I lost the odds. Oh no, Notre Dame's win total set 9.5. Vamp Eric, while I find these odds.
So we're going to Notre Dame now, right, my friend?
Minus 140 on the over, plus 110 on the under. Actually, it's 8.5. It's 8.5 on Bet Online.
All right, so Notre Dame returning 33, 7 starters in 8 on defense. Big news: Marcus Freeman's taken over for BK. There's a big back and forth last year between the offensive coordinator and Kelly, who should be the starter. That's gone now. This is totally caught Tyler Buckles' team. He's going to be the QB. Williams, who did go over 1,000 yards, is gone. Who's going to be the starter? I think it's a little up in the air. They do have Chris Timery, who does in the room have the best yards per carry, but I was looking at it. He had one like 99-yard run. So it's kind of a little bit askewed. They do have this dynamic freshman, Eston, who I think by the end of the year, this is going to be his room. I really like this kid as a playmaker. I think he's going to be the RB1. They lost Austin at the wide receiver position, which I think is going to hurt because with Austin, they did have that one guy, reliable guy. I think that's going to hurt them a little bit. Offensive line, they're returning everybody, but they did lose their starting right guard. They had 224 rushing yards per game last year.
I think that defense is still going to be really good this year too.
Yeah. Oh no, that's how much the offensive line was allowing them to get.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
D-line losing 2, but they're coming back. Foskey is back, be the strength of the team. This defensive line should be better than last year's linebacker. They're losing 4, which is a huge blow to the group. And the success depends how the freshmen coming in who are thrust into legitimate roles. You know what I mean? How much they're able to do it. Losing Hamilton, who by far was a defensive player, their best on defense last year, is a big blow. But everyone else is coming back. Are they going to be able to, hide losing a great player like Hamilton?
I think this team's still going to be really good. The last 2 full seasons, they went 11-1.
I mean, of course they're going to be good, but here's the thing. Everyone likes Freeman. Kelly left. Kelly was a dick. He was
a good coach, though. He is Brian Kelly is a good coach.
Notre Dame is not an easy place to have success and coach at because of A, you're not in a premier conference. B, they don't have the facilities as much as everybody else. C, now in this NIL world, they don't have the NIL money these other schools have.
I think they do have some banging donors, though. So I think they do have NIL money because Notre Dame is a nice school. They got some rich donors.
But did you see what came out with Texas Tech this year? Texas Tech.
They don't have conference money, that's for sure.
No, Texas Tech. Hold on. Let me read this to you, dude. This is going to blow your mind when I find this tweet.
What Texas Tech or Texas A&M?
No. Texas Tech.
Jesus.
Hold on. Where is this tweet? And this is what
minus 140 on the over, by the way.
But this is what I'm talking about with the NIL.
What do you got?
All right. The Mater Club, an NIL group, is signing the entire Texas Tech football team to a 5-figure NIL deals. Every Red Raider football player from walk-ons to starters is included. You know what I mean? So, like, here's the thing. Like,
I think Notre Dame has that kind of money.
But they don't have that, though. You know what I mean? Like, these guys.
I think they have more money than Texas Tech.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. And how does Notre Dame seems to, I don't know, man.
I think Notre Dame has more money than Texas Tech. They're like a huge national brand. They've got a lot going for them. Their biggest like negative to me is they're in the middle of fucking Indiana.
That is a pretty big.
Like South Bend sucks. I'm sorry.
But that's another thing. Like, dude, if I can go in the heat, if I can go down south to play, or I can be in freaking South Bend, Indiana, where you're gonna go?
Well, I mean, the good thing about Notre Dame is like you're always nationally recognized, and like you're gonna play on national TV every week because you're always gonna be playing like on NBC.
Yeah.
So that's like, I think that's a pretty big deal. I think Notre Dame's in a good spot. In the transition year, I don't, like you said, it's not an easy place to coach. 8.5 seems about right off the top of my head. Let's get into the schedule. Starting off the season, Ohio State.
That's an L.
That's a big L, in my opinion. Marshall.
Ohio State laying 13.5.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I'll probably take Ohio State in that one. I'm very high on Ohio State.
Yeah,
they're my national championship pick. Marshall at home after that, though.
It's a win.
That's a win. Cal at home, I think it's a win. That's a scrappy team, though. That Cal. Watch out. I think Cal could cover. I think Cal could make this one ugly. At NCU. At UNC.
That's a win.
North Carolina. That's a win. Bye week versus BYU.
That's an L.
That's an L. Stanford at home, I think, is a win. UNLV at home.
Win.
That's a win. At Syracuse. That's tricky. And it's right before Clemson.
It's a win. I'm going to give them the win.
I'm going to give them the win, but then they get Clemson at home.
Clemson coming off the bye.
Clemson coming after the bye, looking for revenge.
You know, I'm going to give that one to Clemson.
I'm going to give that one to Clemson as well. Then they get to play Navy.
I think that's more 50-50 than people realize.
Navy always plays them tough. I'm going to give them a win there, but that's
tough.
I think that's
good. And that game is in Baltimore.
Yes. I'm going to give Navy the win, but that's tough.
I'm going to give Navy the win, dude.
I'm going to give Notre Dame the win, actually. Sorry. I'm going to give Notre Dame a win there. So they finish off versus Navy, Boston College, and USC. I think they win 2 of those and lose 1.
All right, I'll do that too.
So I got them at 2, 3,
9.
I got them at 8.
Really? I got Ohio. I got Marshall. Oh yeah, I got me too. My bad.
6. Yeah.
Yep, I got them at 8.
So win total set at 8.5. I might lean under.
I would lean under 2.
Because there's a world that I could see where they lose to Syracuse, or they lose to UNC, or they lose to like Navy, like Clemson and Boston College and USC.
Here's the thing. Freeman's a great defensive
He's
coach.
a great coach. I think Freeman will be a great coach.
You know, there's always that thing when you're a young guy and it's your first time, sometimes people struggle.
If you want to hedge this off the bat, like there's a scenario where Notre Dame really goes on a tear. But
I just,
no.
To me, this is a spot where, because it's Notre Dame, they're going to be bet heavily. Like against Cal, you can take them for value. Against
Yes.
Syracuse, before they play Thompson, you can take them for value. And that's how you're going to fade them for value. Excuse me. And that's kind of like how I am going to look to be playing them going into the season, just on certain particular spots, be looking to fade them.
I can respect that. I'm also going to take this under because fuck Notre Dame. Join a conference, cowards.
Yeah, why the heck don't?
This is
Why
on
do you think
principle.
they don't chuck? They don't do that.
Because they have their autonomy. As long as they have that deal with NBC, they feel like they're like above everybody else.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Up next, now we get into the fucking meat of the independents. UConn, baby, the Huskies. Win total set at 2.5.
So this is my first thing. Okay, you're an 18-year-old kid.
Minus 150 on the over, by the way, plus 120 on the under, 2.5.
You're an 18-year-old kid. Is Jim Moore really gonna motivate you?
Nah, probably not. Like when was the last time he was like super relevant? Like he's a great name, and I like Jim Moore.
He's never been like the man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like
I think he's a good coach.
I mean, well, he was with the Falcons. He was 27-23 with the Falcons. Seahawks 5-11. And then he was with UCLA from 2012 to 2017, and they just never really did anything.
They were like always decent.
They're always like 6-7 wins tops.
Yeah, they were always like decent. Like they were usually hovering around 6-7 wins. Every once in a while, he would pop them up to a 9-win season.
Yeah,
but they never really like broke out of that. And like I feel like Jim Moore is a decent coach. I don't feel like he's a great coach.
I think he's like okay.
Yeah, I think he's decent.
They added a Penn State transfer, Robinson, who's going to be the quarterback one. A lot of people, deep running back room. They have a freshman, legit speedster, legit home run threat type player anytime he touches it. Wide receiver room, I really think he's going to improve just because they actually do have a legit quarterback. They added a transfer from Texas in there, which is going to help with the talent level. They lost a lot on the offensive line and learning a new scheme. They did add an offensive line transfer from Bama and Michigan, adding 3 more transfers on top of those 2. But learning a new scheme and losing a lot is going to be hard. Defensive line, they lost their top player, Jones, again, switching defensive line schemes. Linebacker room, just nothing. Linebacker room, they have people, but it's not that talented. DBs will be the strength of the defensive unit. They do have a good DB room.
You know what they don't have is a very easy schedule.
No, they don't.
So at Utah State to start the season. That's a loss. That's all the way at Utah State? Yeah. Yep. CCSU Blue Devils. That's a win.
I'll give them that.
Syracuse at home.
That's an L.
That's a loss. At Michigan.
L.
Big loss. At NC State.
L.
Fresno State at home. L.
Who's coming off a bye.
Yep. At FIU.
Winnable.
They have a chance here.
Winnable.
But give it to FIU because it's it's at the airport. Then at Ball State back to back after that. That's a loss.
That's an L.
Bye week. Boston College.
L.
UMass.
L.
Liberty. L. At Army. L.
L. 1 win.
1, maybe 2.
And what's their over under at Big Dog?
2.5.
I'd lean the under here, man.
Plus 120 on the under.
I would lean the under.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under there. Last, and certainly not least, Uncle Rico's team of the Independents, the UMass Minute Men. Win total set at 2.5. Minus 135 on the over, plus 105 on the under.
You know what? What was their over under at?
2.5, just like UConn. And
Yeah,
we already
so-
gave them the win against UConn, so that's a win right there.
All right. So the big thing about that is you know who's coaching them this year, my friend?
Who's coaching the UMass Minutemen?
Don Brown.
That's right. That's
Who's back?
You're a big Don Brown fan. I'm a big So, did you ever watch that Amazon behind the scenes documentary of the Michigan team
No.
from 3 or 4 years ago?
No.
I fell in love with Don Brown on that. I would run through a wall for Don Brown. He's one of the most motivational people I've ever heard speak.
And when you have a team that lacks talent, that's it. He was 43-19 when he was the coach here from 04 to 08. Returning 42, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Where are my notes? Olsen is back as a starter after starting his freshman year. I think he's in line to make a big jump into his sophomore season. They have this running back named Mayweather, who's the best college football player you have never heard of as their running back. They did lose, 2 other top 3 wide receivers, but they got a transfer from Michigan, San Jose State, excuse me. Tight end room is good. They had 3 transfers from the offensive line, returning 3. Defensive line, they're adding 5 Power 5 transfers. They did lose P, who was their best guy. Linebacker room, they added the FCS finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, 2 transfers from Rutgers. And they're just adding more transfers in the DB room. So the thing I like them is they're getting Power 5 talent, they're getting a motivational coach, and they have a sophomore quarterback who started his freshman year.
Are you worried that he's returning to a school and this kind of winds up just like Randy Edsall did at UConn, where they were successful? Like Randy Edsall was successful at UConn before. He comes back and just can't get it going.
It's a good question, but I was never a Randy Edsall guy. I thought Edsall made a bad career move because at the time, UConn to Maryland, I thought was a horizontal move for him.
Yeah, probably at the time.
So I think he would have been better off to stay there, came back, a lot had changed in UConn when he was there. I get your point, but they got a playmaker at the running back. I think if the quarterback makes step forwards into his sophomore year, I think they got some legs.
I'm kind of in agreement with you. I also just love Don Brown. Like the one thing you want at a coach at a school like this is some guy who can motivate his players. And I think Don Brown can get the most out of his players. You want to dive into this schedule, brother?
Let's do it, big man.
At Tulane.
Unfortunately, that's a loss.
That's a loss. At Toledo after that.
Unfortunately, that's a loss.
Stony Brook.
Give him a win.
That's a win. At Temple.
I think that's a win. I think Temple's bad.
Yeah, Temple's really bad. At Eastern Michigan.
Unfortunately, that's a loss.
Liberty at home.
That's a loss.
It's a loss. Buffalo at home.
Win-able.
This is winnable. I'm going to call it a loss, but this is winnable. New Mexico State off the bye week.
Win.
I'm pretty sure I gave it. This might have been said New Mexico State went 1-3 in a stretch. I think UMass wins this game. At UConn. Win. That's 3 right there. At Arkansas State.
It's a loss.
At Texas A&M.
That's a burial.
Army at home.
That's a loss. So you have them at 3. I have them at 4.
They could win 4. They could get sneaky and win 5. No, I have them at 4. I have them New Mexico at UConn.
I have Stony Brook.
You have 5.
I have Stony Brook, Temple,
Buffalo, New
I got
Mexico
my
State. at UConn. I have him at 4.
Dude, can
You
you
have him at 5,
imagine?
3.5. Sorry, 2.5.
I'm
I'm on the
calling it
over.
right now.
Sorry, I was reading this wrong. Over 2.5 is plus 105.
If I can't find this on Bet Online to save my life, dude. If they are bowl eligible and if they need to beat Army to get into the bowl, we need to.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Bet Online, we love you. Shout out Bet Online. Shout out Better Than Vegas. Can you stop swapping the over and the under for these win totals, like for certain teams? Put the over on top. Put the under on the bottom.
Yeah.
They did it for every other team. I almost bet the over on UConn.
Here we go. Over. There it is. UMass. God, that's such a sexy total, dude. Give it to me, big dog. UMass
God
over.
dang.
2.5 wins, dude. God.
I almost just bet the under for UConn at minus 135. The over is plus 105.
That's such a sexy bet, dude.
God dang.
I'm saying this right now. If, my friend, it's November 26th, right after Turkey Day, that Saturday, I think we need to go live during the Army UMass game and just break it down for the people.
I think so too. I think that's a good.
That's only if UMass needs to win that game to become bowl eligible.
If UMass needs to become bowl eligible or to get our win total, either one.
Either one, I think we need to do it.
Yes. If they beat Army and go to a bowl game, maybe Don Brown Coach of the Year.
Oh my God, could you imagine that, dude?
There's not a chance they make a bowl game.
Jesus, dude. Do I need to order a UMass football?
Are you gonna order the hoodie?
I'm just gonna go t-shirt, dude. I'm not. Oh my God, look at US. Look at they only sell it on eBay. That's how hard it is to get.
That's because nobody wants them.
Here we go. I'm live right now. Dude, I'll tell you what, this is a pretty good tee. It's $30, but it's still pretty good.
Jeez. Disgusting.
God, yeah. You know what? If we get to that situation, I'll order it. If we get to that situation.
What the fuck? Okay, we'll get to this later. Can someone please explain to me why Nebraska has the same odds to win the Big Ten as Penn State? And better odds than Iowa, Michigan State, Minnesota? Am I high?
Let me just pull this shit up, my friend. I'm trying to get to my Big Ten.
We'll talk about this when we get to the Big Ten. I don't want to make a whole thing about this. Before we get too much, what's your favorite bet of the independents?
Oh, UMass over 2.5.
I like it. Plus 105 on that one. Mine is probably, I think it might be the Liberty under. I think it really might be the Liberty under. Plus 110.
Yeah.
Under 7. I'm going to say that. Liberty under. That's my favorite one. Take it. Take it, folks. Cash those checks.
Oh, my God. I hate to talk about your boys, but did you see the end of their schedule?
Yeah.
At Michigan, Wisconsin, at Iowa. I think it's just because they have a different quarterback.
Every game was a goddamn coin flip last year, but every game in the Big Ten West is a coin flip. Like, they could beat Wisconsin and Iowa and lose to Rutgers and Northwestern, and I wouldn't bat an eye.
Yeah. So, but you know what? We will talk about that.
We'll talk about that when we get to the Big Ten. I will wax poetic on what the fuck is going on with
that's
Nebraska.
Probably going to be a 4-hour stream because I'm a Michigan State guy and you're a Nebraska guy. So we'll
7.5 is the win total. It's bananas. I'm on the over. I'm just going to say that flat out. Eric, Uncle Rico, where can the people find you?
At eTop21 Sports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I have a YouTube channel at eTop21 Sports. Tuesday night, about right when this should be finishing, eTop21 Sports Show comes on. I'm going to be breaking down a little NFC South, and oh my God,
Ooh.
I have a conspiracy.
Is your conspiracy mine that I think the Saints are going to win the NFC South this year?
Dude, you just stealing my thunder, dude?
Oh shit! Watch his stream, folks. Watch his stream.
You just here just
No, find out his answer on his stream. We don't know his answer.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on the Saints this year, my friend.
God damn it. Me too. But follow him on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at XFL Jim. Follow us both on YouTube. And follow the show. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Find the episodes. Well, we should have all of the previous episodes either VODed on YouTube or if you head over to Better Than Vegas, there should all be there too. I'm going to get those uploaded there. Give us a follow on Spotify. Give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Give us a listen. We'll win you some money, folks. This is a nice little future opportunity. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Love you, babies. Mwah, mwah, mwah.